Welcome back, guys. We are progressing with our acrobatics. So today is going to be the last progression video. That means that it's the last time that we're going to do a video where we're going to do movements that are not related to a specific acrobatic. So we're going to do a lot of mobility work, a lot of stability work, and we're amping it up now, so the level of difficulty should be a lot harder, because the next movements, what we have on the list is going to be bridging, macaco, esdobrado, auge French, all that fun stuff is going to demand a lot of mobility and stability from your body. So we want to make sure that at this stage, with all the prep that we've done, with all of the previous acrobatics that we've done, the AU, the quedagiris, etc., that now we are more secure, we're more comfortable, so we're layering the level of difficulty. So let's take Chigiri here. What we're going to start off with is I'm going to get him to lie on his back. As we know, shoulder mobility on your front, pardon me. As we know, shoulder mobility is paramount, and we've been harping on this through this system since the beginning. But now we're going to amp it up here. I'm going to do what's called a shoulder distraction. So my participant here is going to use a dowel, or he could use a towel or a belt or whatever. And he's going to take a wide grip so that he's able to bring his shoulders slowly back. The reason why I want him on the ground is so that his upper body, his thoracic and lumbar, stays nice and neutral, or as best as possible. Now, there could be thoracic extension, that's fine, but I don't want to cheat in other ways possible, right? So this is known as a shoulder distraction, and we're opening up the socket. So you can imagine when we're going to start jumping and landing in macacos or things like that, that we have to own the mobility in this area here. Another important area, I'll take this from you, Chigiri, is shoulder extension. So what Chigiri is going to do now is, instead of having a wide grip, he's going to narrow his grip, and he's not going to be able to lift the bar all the way back because of the narrow grip, let's say about shoulder width. But I want him to go as far as he can into shoulder extension so that he can work on that. And here, Chigiri displays a lot of very good shoulder extension. Oftentimes we'll have people no further than just a few degrees, and that needs to be corrected, because if you're landing again in your auge French and your macacos, and you don't have the mobility to sustain you, that's going to be a potential shoulder impingement. So we want to prepare accordingly. The next step here is I'm going to get Chigiri to go in another deep squat. So he's going to place himself into a deep squat, and just as a quick review, he's torquing at the hips, bringing his hips low, but still activating his core. So he's not just slugging there like that. He's staying nice and stable, and you can see the knees are kind of shooting out. They're not crumbling inside as such. So Chigiri is going to hold this position. What I want him to do is he's going to rotate his body, keeping the heel and the toes on the ground, just to work the ankle. So this is some ankle mobility while we're oscillating in the deep squat. So he's doing some circles in one direction, and he's doing circles in the other direction as well, to really try to wake up those ankles and to get that mobility going. The next one here, this is going to be difficult for a lot of people. We're going to start standing up, Chigiri. Overhead squat. This is going to be an expression of hip mobility while maintaining shoulder mobility. So we want to be able to express this type of movement that you're going to see shortly, because when we're going to be landing, when we're going to be moving in our dynamic acrobatics, this mobility is going to help us when we're going to fall in the bad forms, because when we're going to be learning a new acrobatics, we are going to fall a lot and we are going to injure ourselves. However, if we prepare our joints accordingly, we'll fall, but we won't hurt ourselves as much. So we're going to extend the elbows like this, and he's going to go into a squat, trying to maintain the dowel or the towel above his head. And Chigiri here expresses this beautifully. He has amazing shoulder mobility and hip mobility and ankle dorsiflexion as well. and he can stand back up. What we often see here is that the shoulders will kind of roll in front. So as he goes down, we'll see people having the bar go here. And that just means that we need to work a little bit the lats. From the previous preparation videos, we target a lot the lats to mobilize them with the foam roller or lacrosse ball to be able to open up and express like that. Now, we're gonna move on here. We're gonna start working single leg work. Here, this is what we call the airborne lunge. So Chigri's gonna stand in one leg, bend the other one, the heel closest to his hip as he can, and he's gonna lunge down and try to touch his knee to the ground. Now, you don't have to start there, but it's a good idea to progress towards that. And we're working core stability here, anti-flexion, anti-rotation, and a lot of knee stability, right? The knee wants to cave in, and Chigri's working his external rotators of the hips to maintain stability as he's going down. Because most of our acrobatic movements, when we're talking about ao de frente or es dobrado, we're landing in one leg. So we need to be able to hone that position on one leg, and this is very similar to the deep squat but on one leg, which makes it a lot harder. So you can see that this level 3 progression, it's much harder than it is, right? The last one, now that we've worked our hips quite a bit in deep flexion with our deep squatting, with our airborne lunge, we're going to relax our muscles, and we're going to use a bench here to do what we call a couch stretch. So Chigri's going to place one foot in front of him as if he's lunging, and the other leg is either squeezed on a wall, or in this case on a bench or a couch, hence the name, and he's putting his knee as close as he can to the bench. If this is too tough, and it will be for some, you can bring the knee a little bit closer here, but Chigri has good hip mobility, so he is going to bring it as close as he can to the bench or the wall, and very important, he's going to stand up. We should see the ideal position is to squeeze the glutes so we get hip extension, where we're going to feel a good stretch in our quadricep muscles and our hip flexors. So we're trying, because capoeira, we are always flexing in our ginga, in our base positions, in our acrobatics as well. Our hip flexors and our quads get shortened quite a bit and worked quite a bit, so it's very important to lengthen them, and this is kind of like one of the best ways, go-tos to lengthen our quadricep and hip flexors. So that's it for this video, guys. This is the last progression. We got some really fun stuff heading your way, so keep in touch, and we'll see you on the next show.